Our program, I propose that we all sit. I propose that we all sit so that we can start our program. We are behind the time. I hope you had a wonderful night and we are ready to start another very exciting day. I have a few announcements to make. We shall have excursion this afternoon, soon after lunch. And for those who are interested, please register yourself outside at the registration table. Okay, Solomon at Siaya, please see Dr. Geoffrey Kweka wherever you are. Solomon at Siaya, please see Dr. Kweka wherever you are. So for those who are interested with the excursion, please register yourself. Please register yourself outside, and you can meet Dr. Matthias Nkui, Miss Aurelia, and Alex Ngoi, who will give you detailed information about the excursion. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, those who are here physically and those who are joining virtually, it is an honor of us now to have a keynote speech from Jumanne Mtambalike. Jumanne Mtambalike, please, you are invited to the podium, and Jumanne Mtambalike, please, you are welcome to the podium. I also take this opportunity to invite Professor Mataba, who will be our moderator, and Silas Maio, who is rapporteur for this session. Professor Mataba and Silas Maio. There is also another modification on the timetable. Nadia Elizabeth Lovell has been shifted to council chamber and will be presenting virtually from 10:45 to 11:30. From 10:45 to 11:30, while Ludovico and Lucas Njau will be presented to lecture room 1 from 12:15 to 13 hours. And Dr. Michael Ngala will be our today's chairman. So in case you have anything you want to communicate, please see him. Dr. Michael Ngala, can you stand up so that people recognize you? There he is. Okay, Professor Mataba, you are welcome so that you can invite the presenter.
Okay, good morning. Okay, now we are moving to a morning session, and our presenter is Tambalike. Will be presenting on cooperative education uh, in the era of IA, AI, sorry. Um, so, Mr. Tambalike, you are now welcome to start your presentation. You are given 15 minutes, and thereafter we'll have a short session of discussion, and then we will wind up. Welcome. Karibu.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so my name is Jumanne Tambariki. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sahara Ventures. We work on innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. And just a bit of heads up, I know nothing about cooperatives. Yeah, so when I was told to give this keynote, I had to research a lot about cooperative and what do they actually mean. And I basically come to realize it's basically communities of people with shared interests, with shared and committed responsibilities, goals, vision, and they are focusing to achieve something in common. I literally asked ChatGPT to define it in layman's language, and that was the definition it gave me. So I will present in 6 areas. The first part, you are the experts, and then I'll look into how industrial revolutions disrupted cooperatives. We look into future of works and cooperatives. We look into cooperative education in the age of disruption, and then we'll do reflection. So when I was Googling online, came to learn uh, the modern cooperative started around 1844, and not until late 1800s, it started to take shape, and it was mainly championed by consumer cooperatives who were somehow spread across North America. Between 1900s to 1920s, the world started to saw agriculture cooperatives, and they were mainly growing somewhere outside United States. After the first global depression, worker cooperatives started around 1930s, and mainly to protect workers' interests. And not until 1960s, when most of the African countries started to get independence, then the whole notion and concept actually emerged in Africa, especially protecting workers' interests. The changes in digital disruptions and digital transformation started to transform how the concept is being perceived or adapted in different communities. Because I'll be talking on how technology and digital disruption has been transforming the cooperative sector and how education is also being shaped by that, I looked into the role of the industrial revolutions when it's come to cooperatives. So the first industrial revolution basically was mainly around steam engine, mechanized manufacturing, and formation of cities and urbanization, in which it highly led to harsh working conditions and economic inequality for most of the workers, especially in Europe and US. And this was the beginning of the cooperative movement. The second industrial revolution was mainly around increased mechanization, transforming economies and societies. And because of that, new industries started to flourish in agriculture, retail, and banking. And workers in those sectors also felt a need to actually adapt cooperative structures. During the third industrial revolution, there was the emergence of digital technologies, automation, and globalization, which basically brought a lot of changes on how cooperatives operated. Cooperatives adapted by integrating new technologies and expanding their activities globally by forming new networks and member-based. Now we're in the fourth industrial revolution, where we have technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, blockchain, and distributed ledger technologies. And these technologies will also shape how cooperatives operate. So yesterday I attended, in the afternoon, there was a paper presented on how artificial intelligence can help community savings group to predict potential dropout for members. They were using data from 8 SACCOS groups to actually see whether those cooperatives will be able to operate in a more sustainable way based on the existing data. So this is something artificial intelligence is bringing into the sector, because now you can actually do predictive analysis. You can predict whether the savings group will continue to be profitable in the long run. You can predict whether the members of the SACCOS group will continue to be part of that SACCOS group. And even you can predict their behavioral data in terms of how they perceive those community and saving groups. But also the rise of fintechs, financial technologies, will disrupt of how savings groups operate. Already we are seeing banks establishing their own in-house innovations to disrupt how management of savings and financial records are being managed. But also you have technologies such as blockchains, technologies that ensure transparency in transactions, but also disrupt processes and fostering trust among cooperative members. So now you don't need to have let's say a physical ledger where actually members of a cooperative need to sign using pens and paper and certify that actually we have contributed. But basically you can use blockchain and other distributed ledgers to manage their records, because no one can actually tamper with that information. And also we're living in the age of big data and analytics. This data can actually be used to manage these cooperative associations. So when you look at the financial sector and how the financial sector is growing in Africa and in a place like Tanzania, you can see some of our major telecom operators right now, they are one who are championing digital transformation in the financial sector, even more than banks. Innovations such as M-Koba, where it allows communities to save in groups using mobile money. Innovations such as Kibubu, that allow community members to save to buy something later. Innovations such as e-Koba, that allow community groups to save money to purchase a specific asset or property. These are innovations that will actually shape and disrupt the future of how cooperative operates in Africa. And they're already being adapted by financial institutions. They're being adapted by banks. They're being adapted by telecom companies. They're being adapted by digital microfinance institutions. But the key issue is, are they actually connected to the traditional cooperative societies? Because yesterday when I came here, one gentleman asked me, chama gani unatokea? I was like, I don't like politics. Akaniambia anamaanisha chama cha ushirika. Unaona? Yeah, so I was like, sitokei chama chochote cha ushirika. So the point here is, if you look at the future of cooperative and how it can be able to connect with this generation, especially Gen Z, it is not that they don't want to be part of cooperatives, because they're already part of cooperatives, but they don't define their cooperatives as cooperatives. They define their cooperatives as community of people with shared interests. Actually, border driver do save money together. Mama ntilie do save money together. Bongo flavor artists do save money together. But do they perceive themselves as cooperatives? That is something I'll let you guys, because you're doing a lot of research to do. So again, you can see products such as Kikoba, which is basically a digital platform for Vikoba for community saving groups. And products like these are coming up and popping up every day. Companies such as Laina Finance, who actually does asset financing for community savings group, to them they see the potential of community savings group, but their perspective of a community savings group is very different from how you guys perceive it from an academic and research perspective. So the future of savings will highly be influenced by how young people actually engage with financial institutions right now. And the future of their group cooperative will also be shaped by that. If you look at an average Gen Z right now, has never been in a bank for almost 3 or 4 years, like actually stepping into a bank or stepping into a community savings account or even attending a community saving group. They can actually send money to each other using mobile money. They can save as a group on Vodacom M-Pesa or Tigo M-Pesa. They want how they work to be so much personalized. They have communities of practice that are based on WhatsApp, Telegram, Twitter Spaces. They don't care much about meeting physically, but they have shared interest. They can actually talk, they can actually engage. They don't need to meet physically. So they can have a cooperative union that is based in, I don't know, they can be in 8 regions and have one group. So someone can be staying in Moshi, the other person can be staying in Lindi, the other person can be staying in Dar es Salaam, and but it can be a community of savings. They can be able to do their meetings virtually, they can be able to engage using social media platform, and they can be able to serve using remote saving solutions. They want seamless experience. They prefer to use advanced tech on how they save money. They are open to some sort of an ecosystem approach, which I will also address in terms of how these groups and how these communities behave and engage. And they also prefer new types of disruptive business models. Again, as I said, I'm not a cooperative expert, but I wanted to understand what does this cooperative thing actually mean to someone of this generation. And do we actually practice cooperatives? And I come to realize, yeah, we're basically practicing cooperatives. We actually serve in groups. We do crowdfunding for startups. We come together and say, that startup actually makes sense. Let's put money together and invest in it. And then if we benefit together as a group. So basically, if you look at it, it's basically a cooperative, but we don't call it chama cha ushirika, if you understand what I'm saying. So there's always issue of, what can I say, either user-centered design or human-centered design, or how this generation actually perceive a cooperative. But there's a lot of digital tribes and communities. We have digital tribes of our former friends who we went to school together. We have digital tribes of people who are actually celebrating a certain football team together. Na mtu akifariki au akipata msiba tunamchangia, tukiwa tuna common interest ya kuuza kitu fulani tunakiuza pamoja. Kama tuna agenda, we can actually push it together as a cooperative. Actually, I was thinking when we are starting Tanzania Startup Association as an umbrella organization to represent interests of startups, we really struggled on what the actual status of the association should be. Should it be a company limited by guarantee? Should it be an NGO? But actually thinking of it right now, after reading about cooperative, actually it would make more sense to actually be a cooperative than an association. I don't know. Anyway, I'm still learning. So if you look at the tribe model, most of the businesses right now operate as a tribe. All these big social media platforms you see today, whether it's Twitter or Facebook, you will have some grassroots consumers somewhere. You have someone they call a super user, and then you have the platform owners. So look at something like Bolt or Uber. So the platform owner is Bolt or Uber. The super user is a driver, and the grassroots consumer is you who are ordering Bolt. Or look at Twitter. So you have those verified accounts. Those are super users. Platform owners, they are Twitter or X owner. And then grassroots user is everyone who is posting and tweeting stuffs. So what you came to realize right now is the same kind of model that is being adapted, but in a different way with grassroots businesses. So, for example, we are working with a company called Boda Pesa. Boda Pesa basically is looking to disrupt how Boda save money, how Boda buy insurance, how Boda purchase assets, how Boda trade among each other, and how Boda receive virtual payments. And basically what you do on that app is you create a community of boda drivers. So every kijiwe of boda, let's say it has like 500 members, you create a virtual community for them. They can save in groups through that application. They can invest together and buy asset if it's land, and then they share it among them. They can actually buy insurance among themselves as boda driver within that app. And everything is very transparent, everything is secure, and everything is purely digital payment on that platform. And basically now the super user becomes the platform owner, the community becomes the boda drivers, and those people actually manage the communities. They become the main representative in that application. So actually you're creating a digital tribe or a community within that application in which to some of you guys can decide to call it cooperative. So the tribe model actually capitalizes on grassroots transactions based on grassroots communities, building product on top of existing community. So if you can do this with boda drivers, you can do this with Mama Ntilie, you can do this with anyone who is part of a community. So now I'm building my case on how can you shape cooperative education in this age and in the future. So when you look at some of the challenges we are facing right now, I really like this picture of a football stadium. And if you love football, because blue is the dominant color there, you might think that is a match of Azam maybe with Simba or Yanga, but actually that is not a football match. That is an interview, and that is a short list. So you can imagine how long list look like. This was 2013. The government announced 70 posts for a constable officer of immigration, and then 13,000 youth showed up for the interview. This was when? 2013. Today is what? 2024. So you can imagine if you do, I love mathematics, so if you do compound interest with new youth coming into the job market every year, potentially that stadium would have been full twice. If they do the same thing today, if they call people to go actually for interview in the national stadium. So we are operating in a market where our age, our population is very young. The median age of Tanzania is 17.9. The median age of Africa is 18 years old. You can see Africa compared to the rest of the world in terms of our age. So if you are talking about cooperatives as vyama vya ushirika, their perspective of most of the young people ni kwamba these are old people stuffs. And I can tell you honestly. So how do we make cooperative more relevant to this generation? It's very important because it's not that they don't have communities. They have communities, they do serve, they have shared responses, they have shared responsibilities, and it's something which to them is very useful. But I think they really struggle to understand what actually is chama cha ushirika au vyuo vya ushirika or elimu ya ushirika, because we are not making it as relevant as possible to them. And when you look at the evolution of work, like what we define to be work today and how it was 2,000 years ago, initially human beings literally started to work outside. They started to work in agriculture fields. And this was during the agriculture age. Everyone needed to be at the field. How they coordinate, how they meet, how they plan is happening at the farm. They can negotiate together about the prices, how much they want to sell in the local market, in the global market. And then after the Industrial Revolution, slowly people started to move inside. First, they went inside the industries during the factory age. And during this time, the interests of the workers actually changed from we want to negotiate better farm price to we want to negotiate better working environment within the industry. And then eventually we went to the office age, where you have your office, you have your corner. This is my office, this is my secretary, this is my team sitting in the boardroom. And then we started to negotiate on how can we have better desks so that we don't get NCDs. And the interest started to change and change and change. But when you look at this age, they call it creativity age, where even how a worker perceives where they're supposed to be working, supposed to be doing, has also changed. The shared interest, they're also changing. So the future of cooperative will have to consider these changes in terms of what a worker used to be, what a worker's current is, and what the future of workers will look like. I'm going to give you a simple worker's perspective between me and my dad. So my grandfather believed you need to work in one job at least you're 60 and retire. Like my granddad worked at Tanzania Railways, I don't know for how many years until he died. And then my father believed you need to stay in a place at least 5 to 10 years before you can actually leave. And they'll tell young people these days, you're very desperate. You stay in a place for 6 months, you're looking to move to another place, you know. And to me, I think I need to move from that place as soon as opportunity presents itself. You're getting me? My son will possibly say, do I even need to go there? You're getting what I'm saying? And this is the future of how workers will perceive things. One of my mentor, Balozi Ami Mpungo, used to have serious issues with his kids on how they define work. Because to him, they're supposed to go to the office 9 to 5. They're supposed to be very serious with their jobs, and they need to get out of the house to go to the office. But literally, those kids were not going out of the house. They were always inside on their PC, trading online, buying stuff online, selling stuff online. They were making money. They were not asking for any money from him, but to him, that was not work. Work, someone has to go out. So in the past, the perception of who employee is was people need to go to job 9 to 5, but the future is people can work anytime. You need to be sitting in a corporate office, but the future is you can work from anywhere. You need to use company equipment and companies to protect your interest and everything. You can use any device. You can reply emails using your own phone. You need to focus on inputs, but basically, our generation, you need to focus on outputs and what you can deliver. People, they don't care on what you're giving to the company. They only care what you're helping the company to achieve. In the past, people want to climb the corporate ladder. This generation want to create their own ladder. So the moment they study what you do and how you make money, they want to start something like you. So all those are frictions on how communities engage and do things together and how it will influence the future of cooperative, whether it's in workers' collaboration, whether it's in grassroots engagement, whether on establishment co-working groups and stuff like that. And then this is also age of what we call smart creatives. People are obsessed with technical knowledge. They want to develop business expertise and they're creative. So they don't want to stay in one place. They don't want to be part of a community that doesn't give them direct value. They are always pushing for new values. They are always coming up with their own theory on how they perceive things, which make it extremely difficult on how to prepare them for that. In the past, you have a predefined work, but now you can customize your own work. It's about sharing information currently. Back in the days, it's about hiding what you have so that everyone thinks you're smart. It was about centralized leadership. I am the VC of this institution. This day is about decentralized leadership. Anyone can lead anywhere. So these frictions in mindset and how things change, they will definitely shape how we do things. So the education also needs to evolve. I'm getting to my point. When you look at the first generation universities, the emphasis was just on education. The people actually had knowledge, they were called masters, and everyone was going to listen to a master. Because how do you argue with Archimedes, son of Amos, or Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck, or Charles Darwin? It is their theory, they know, they come up with it. Come up with your own theory to argue. You're getting me? And then university actually evolved to second generation university where more emphasis was given on uh, education and research. And the role of master now changed to become someone called lecturer, who was actually lecturing people on the knowledge that was gathered by a master. And this lecturer to be promoted has to publish a lot of academic papers so that he can become a professor. But now the world is changing. When you look at the third generation university, beyond just academic and research, there's more emphasis on innovation, technology, entrepreneurship, collaboration, and this is key because most of the knowledge and skills that you guys, when I say you guys, university, used to give these students, some of them are becoming outdated. They are required to develop what we call forces. They need to be able to think critically. They need to be able to work collaboratively. They need to be able to communicate effectively, and they need to act creatively. So whatever education or knowledge you give them, it needs to be able to deliver that. So if you're running a cooperative education or university today, those are some of the things that are very, very important for you to put in place. And if you're able to do that, then you'll be able to address all the issues I just addressed before, which they are critical issues in terms of how they perceive the market, in terms of how they engage between each other, and in terms of how these technological disruptions will impact the students. I'm wrapping up. Yeah. So the role of university, as you've already said, university at the core of the education ecosystem, and your role is just, it goes beyond just being a place where people actually seek knowledge and publish researches. It can actually go beyond that and do more so that you can be more effective into your community. So now, how to act based on what I've just shared. As universities, you cannot run away from installing the forces to students. You need to make sure your student can communicate better. You need to make sure your student can collaborate. You need to make sure your student can think critically, and you need to make sure your students are creative. I'm not telling you to stop what you're doing right now. Continue to do what you're doing right now because that's your core. But if you want to create students that will become relevant in the job market and then don't end up in a football stadium of 60,000 people, then these are some of critical skills you need to equip them. You need to integrate ICTs and emerging technologies, part of your core curriculum, because someone who is doing procurement right now is possibly irrelevant because by the time she graduates, she'll be working on e-procurement system and ERP system that she doesn't know how to use because she wasn't taught in the university. A lawyer will have to file a case digitally. Possibly someone who has studied file management, there won't be a registry office. They'll have to store their file in cloud, and this is either Google Cloud or Microsoft Cloud. So knowing and having a basic foundation of ICTs is critical for these guys. You need to reform your content and methodology in terms of how you train them. You need to nurture them to become lifelong learners. You need to help them understand how market behave and the new business trends that can actually be able to prepare them for what is coming. And you need to do cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary research, and you need to pay more attention on your engagement with the industry. So this is the guy whom most of your students will be competing with. He's sitting somewhere, doesn't have a college degree, but has learned to use these tools to make his life relevant. A computer science graduate at University of Dar es Salaam might not be able to make money, but this guy might be able to make money at Kariakor selling ringtones and installing people WhatsApp on their phones and Facebook. So what we need to produce is not people who are waiting to be told what to do, but people who are ready to do what is supposed to be done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mtambalike. When I first read the title of your presentation, I was a bit confused and saying, hey, this guy is trying to propose that digitalization is disruptive to the cooperative education. But now we can see that this guy is trying to tell us, probably we have to redefine what we are saying, what is a cooperative, what is university education. That will be relevant to the environment, that is relevant to the employers. So before we proceed, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Mtambalike. I should have done it before. Now Mtambalike, Jumanne Mtambalike is an innovator and a technology enthusiast with expertise in ideation, programs development, and project management. Now, as a technology blogger and a community reformer, he's dedicated to working with youth initiatives in innovation, technology, entrepreneurship, and the capacity building. Jumanne is the Chief Executive Officer of Sahara Venture, where he leads efforts to establish a robust innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Africa through consultancy and investment. So what he's trying to share with us is that he has practical experience, practical knowledge, and probably he has also tested our students, our graduates, and so what he's telling us we have to discuss and probably put more testimony on what he has been saying, and therefore I would like to invite now the forum to be able to add on what he has discussed or what he has presented to us, trying to reshape what he has said. We know us as academicians, sometimes we're a bit conservative. Probably it takes us a long time before we change, but sometimes we have to change even if it is in a hard way. So I take this opportunity to invite the floor to be able to contribute on what he has presented to us. And probably let's start with anyone who is ready to contribute. Karibu, you are welcome. Thank you, Karibu. Please give him the mic, please.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
First of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Mtambalike for bringing up this thing of cooperative in digital era. He touched a lot of things that we are supposed to take as researchers and cooperative experts. One of the things that he has touched is on how to transform the social media associations into a form of cooperatives. That is true. We have done our research on the readiness and the willingness of the participants or members of social media associations to be transformed into a cooperative society. They are majority of them of this paper that we have done, research that we have done, 78%. They agreed they are ready for these social media associations which operate informally to be formalized as a cooperative society. This is a research done last year. But one of the things that is becoming as a barrier for these informal social media associations to be transformed into cooperative societies or cooperative practices is the legal framework that exists in our country in Tanzania. For instance, if you go through our Cooperative Act, it doesn't have a clause of allowing or accepting registrations of the online cooperative societies. So as now we are here as researchers and policy makers, and this forum, I think it's where now we can voice up this, that the laws should be amended to give a room for these kind of social media associations to be registered as a cooperative society. But also, you touch on the platform cooperatives. Yes, we have also a research that is going to be conducted this year, I think, if we be given a fund, but has been accepted to be done. We have seen that there are platform business organizations like Uber that I've mentioned. Now we're thinking of how these platform cooperatives, platform business, are feasible in our context, in Tanzanian context or African context. So it is true. The private business organizations, they do generate profits, but they exploit the operators. For instance, if you are a member of Uber, that means you are generating income or money to the owner of the Uber, who is not African. He's in the US, I think so. So now, if we come up with these platform cooperatives, that means it will be owned and operated by the owners who are members. So they will benefit from this. So one of the call for that one is now to also to navigate on the legal framework if it allows for these platform cooperatives to operate in the context of our country. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Maybe before you sit down, I just wanted to get your contribution on what he said about how universities should also change in terms of their curriculum to reflect the current technological issues, the way the young generation perceive about education. What do you say about it? That what he proposed said, okay, our education should be innovative, creative, be able to allow a networking, be able to allow our candidates or rather our students to be better communicators and those kind of things. What do you say about it? What is the practice that is happening in our universities, and what is really supposed to be done?
Okay.
You, as one of the academicians.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I do agree with that, that the universities should change the model of delivering knowledge from knowledge-based education to, I think, knowledge-based to Tibet. There is Qbet and those who are from education. We should change from delivering knowledge, but we have to focus on practical knowledge or practical skills than knowledge-based. If we change from that focus of delivering only knowledge and focus on providing skills on how to apply the how side and not the what side, we have to move from teaching the what side to how side. That means if you give, for instance, a candidate here at MOP on cooperative issues, we should not focus on what is cooperative, but we should teach on how they can use the cooperative sector or cooperative practices to benefit them while they are out of the university. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like also to get your comment from Professor Sanchez. I know probably you have some experience and what is going on in say, Professor Sanchez. Please, can you bring a mic?
Thank you very much, and good morning to everybody. I was saying just I'm going to get into trouble here. So yes, of course, things are changing and very fast, and probably in the 20 next years we are going to see so much change, um, as well as in the universities and in work. or in the world of work. So we don't know what's going to look like, but we have to be part of it. That's for sure. And it's true as well that it will change. So teaching will be, like I said yesterday, uh, a life assessment cycle also at the university, just like the speaker mentioned today. So that will be part of that. And that will include theory, practice, experience, collaboration, teamwork, and so on. But I have a small question, maybe for everybody and for the speaker, because the business models of Twitter and Facebook, which are also business models that go away, disappear from one day to the other. We have great models for just a few years ago that don't exist anymore in this field. However, I think the main profits come from selling the data. As I understand, first of all, they go back to the investors and, for example, in Uber or others, we have Saudi Arabia, or we have other countries directly who are owners, investors, and the data goes back to them, and also it's sold worldwide. So I think the universities will also have to work on business models, I hope cooperatives, but in general, how to protect the data, how you want to work with the data, and if you are working in a cooperative, how you're going to protect your data, where are you going to have the stock of the data. So all these things will become extremely important, and I don't know what are your ideas about it. Thank you.
Now, before you leave, Professor Sanchez, now you introduced this issue of, okay, business models. Business models are changing every time. Now, maybe even this kind of digital whatever, digital business, whatever, maybe they may change sometimes. They may change probably. Now, if the universities also change their curriculum because they have to follow the current business models, are they not going to be maybe irrelevant? Should probably, because models are changing. Probably one day there will come a time when digital technology will not be working. Sorry. What's your comment on
You're
that?
asking me or everybody?
I'm trying to say. Okay.
So what I would say is that the business models can change,
Yes.
but in general, the basics don't change. So
Okay.
we change very slowly as human beings.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. And in cooperatives, the most important things probably are what is the mission of those people who get together, and also who controls and how you control it. In a cooperative, is supposed to be democratic, and the control is by the members, the people, and they are embedded in the society, in the community, in the local economy. So usually those business models will look towards the sustainability of where you live. The others don't care so much because they live very far, they don't have the same risks, and so on. But you can collaborate. So it's,
Oh,
it can happen. So business models can change, technology can change, human beings will change slowly,
okay.
and also we learn, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think the presenter will also reflect on that when he's winding up his presentations. Another person, please. Another contributor. Now, Father.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to congratulate the presenter for a very well paper. And this is really timely and deserving at this time, whereby we are seeing a lot of changes taking place, and taking a note that change is probably the only thing that is, inevitably constant. Changes will always be there. Now, the issue is not the changes, but how we cope with the changes so that we can remain relevant. And with the recommendation that he has given from the paper, yes, answering the question of whether the curricula that we deliver are relevant, are they future ready, are they, introspective of the future skill needs of the generations that we are having. So I agree with him that probably it's the time that universities need to sit and assess whether the curricula that we deliver are relevant to creating the future ready graduates in the fields that we offer. That is number one. But number two, maybe that's a question that we should probably ponder, all of us here. Are the trainers ready? Are the trainers ready? Because we are now training most of our students are Generation Z, are the millennials, Generation Z, and Generation Alpha. But most of the lecturers who are here are Generation X and Y, probably. Now, are we ready to deliver rightly, using the right methodologies to these Generation X, Generation Z, Generation Alpha? So I think it's high time that the high learning institutions should think of training the trainers, training the lecturers so that they can see the need of changing. Okay. Uh, but again, my brother there talked about changing the way of delivery, and this is moving from the knowledge-based training to the competency-based training. And another question, I know, the question remains whether the trainers, most of the lecturers were created under the knowledge-based system. And now the changes are forcing us to to deliver the competency-based training. Are we ready? And this probably may also require, infrastructures and other tools that will bring in the hands-on approaches to doing things. Are the university ready? So I think this is a wake-up call to all the high learning institutions and, of course, regulators, and indeed, uh, you know, trying to see how we can navigate within these changes, including how do we make our legal and regulatory frameworks flexible to cope with the changes that are coming about. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Kaya, for really an important comment. And you have introduced a very important thing that the instructors, the facilitators ready to change? Are they ready to change? Okay, somebody to contribute on that one, please. I should ask this one from Kenya now. My friend, Professor, can you please comment on the readiness of the lecturers hapo to thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I think for me, it's a question that arises out of the last comment in relation to competence-based training. And the question that I have, and maybe the keynote speaker will reflect on this.
The voice.
Yeah, the question I have, and maybe the keynote speaker will reflect on this. When you talk about competencies and competence-based education and training, what competency do we actually need in the era of AI? Is it the competency to be able to use AI, or the competence to be able to interpret what the AI is telling you? So maybe you reflect on that. And my chair of council wants to say something.
Thank you very much, Tambarike. I think ukija Kenya tutakuita Jumatatu because it's Monday morning. In fact, old as we are, we have to listen to the young generation. Who remembers the bomb blast, the twin bomb blast of Nairobi and the Mombasa, Dar es Salaam? Which year was that? 1998, I was working in Cooperative Bank. A very good young man like Tambarike asked us in the cooperative bank, if your bank is disrupted today, where is your data? Where is your customer base? He advised as a very young boy, please open an offsite storage for your data as bankers so that you are able to know if a disruption happens one place, you are able to reach somewhere else. We almost ignored that young man 1 month earlier before the bomb burst in Cooperative Bank. But we decided, like the ones who are new like me, let's go to our training center and have a data center there, an offsite storage for our data. Bear me witness, gentlemen, as a cooperators, that is what saved the Cooperative Bank today. If it was not because of that young boy, we had an offsite storage, the bank would not be there. So thank you very much. Let's teach to the young generation that the changes come. And the old professors like Nyamongo and myself, let us change. Otherwise, change will change us. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I invite the presenter to summarize, maybe to respond to some of the comments that were raised. Karibu, Tambarike.
Yeah, I hope I'll remember everything. Yeah, so the first question was a reflection was from a colleague there. He talked about the complexity of formalizing and registering virtual communities as cooperatives. I totally agree with you. There is that legal and regulatory challenge to do that. But I think that is a direction where the world is going. We'll have more virtual communities than actual physical communities. We saw that during COVID-19, a lot of engagement were happening online. Half of the work were done online. At some point in time, no one was even going to the office. So it's something that our legal and regulatory framework will need to catch up. And since you are the one with the board of knowledge, you can actually advise these guys on what to do. But also, it goes beyond the virtual communities. As I told you, you have the border drivers. These are physical communities. You have Mama Ntiliers. You have Bongo Flava musicians. You have Bongo movie actors. These are communities. We share the interest, and sometimes they even struggle to raise money for their own insurance and stuff like that. But how do you get to tell them actually there is a unique value you can get by being a cooperative? Because it's a generation that doesn't understand much about cooperatives. And then also, Professor Sanchez, you raised a very valid point. Do we want to replicate these business models of Twitter and Facebook in our markets? Um, I was having dinner with some colleagues yesterday, and I was telling them I'm one of those anti-Silicon Valley models, like move fast, break things, sell data, crazy valuations, company doesn't have actual value, but it was billions. I'm against those. Um, what I want to see is how do we actually capitalize on technology to create grassroots innovations, grassroots solutions that actually work for our communities and our people. If you can create a platform for border drivers to be able to save their money, to be able to access insurance, to be able to pay school fees for their kids, to be able to buy assets as a cooperative which is operating in digital platform, that is exactly. Plus, there was an issue of and I would like to make this very clear. Actually, we need universities and we need knowledge-based education. We're not talking about phasing out universities. We're talking about complementarity because the world is changing and these skills, the four C's, communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration, they're actually needed. They are foundation of someone actually being able to survive in a corporate environment. There was a research by World Bank on skills mismatch in Tanzania. It's about 65%. Most of these young guys, they're coming from the universities. They don't have the skills that are required by the job market. So it's something we either decide to downplay or it's something we decide to do something about it. Yes, they have the technical skills, but they cannot cross the interview room. They cannot put together a right CV. They cannot dress properly. They cannot communicate effectively. So even if they have technical skills, they won't be able to get the job. Another issue which I think was very important was raised by our good professor from Kenya. By the way, I come to Nairobi a lot. Uh, um, about cross-generational dialogue, which I think is something very crucial, is something that is missing in Africa. you need that experience and wisdom of the people who are a bit aged, but also you need the exposure and the understanding and the context of the young people because they're living this moment. They do that in Europe, they do that in US, they do that in more developed economy, having this cross-generation dialogue, but it's something that in Africa is still missing and it's necessary to have it. And when this dialogue starts, most of the old people become defensive. But we are learning a lot. We are learning a lot from Nairobi and what is happening with Gen Z, and we're taking notes that these guys are serious and they're here to take over and they need a seat on the table. So that being said, technology is here to stay. It's going to disrupt almost every sector. Changes is inevitable. We either change or we perish and die. Thank you.
Okay. Now, thank you. I can see the MCs telling us this that we should end our presentation. I know it was a bit interesting, it touches everybody. So let me say this the end. Mr. Okay, Miss MC, please proceed. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Jumanne Tambalike, for very insightful presentation. I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Litva Susi, project leader, has announcement to make.
Good morning. I have very important announcement for you. Susi side event will start at 10 a.m. and the bus will leave from the front of this building. The event is at the campus, not that far, but because of the schedule, it might be convenient if we all go there by bus. You are all welcome. There is tea and coffee available. I would love to see you all there. You are warmly welcome. We have shared our program there, outside there in the tent, if you want to see it again. And I want to ensure that we continue this discussion we started now today, that what kind of universities we should have here in Tanzania in 2040. You are warmly welcome there. Happy to see you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ritva, for the announcement. I just want to remind you that we will have a cocktail this evening around 19 hours at Kill Home. Please plan not to miss. It will be a good opportunity for us to interact and exchange contacts. The bus will be available to make sure that we all attend the event. I take also this opportunity to welcome the next presenter, who is Dr. Tamilman Bangaru, and is going to share his experience on cooperatives and sustainable development goals, the Asian experience with lessons from African cooperatives. The moderator will be Professor Oboka and the rapporteur, Miss Anita. So you are warmly welcome to the podium.
Um, Good morning. My name is Wycliffe Oboka from the Cooperative University of Kenya, where I serve as Director, Institute of Cooperative development. In this session, we have Professor Tamilman Bangaru, a renowned scholar with 33 years working in Ganigram Rural Institute. He has been a professor from 2009. He has widely published. He has supervised postgraduate students. He has done so much in the world of academia. And this morning, he's sharing with us on cooperatives and SDGs, the Asian experience with lessons to African cooperatives. In 2015, the world had three major events at which it defines development objectives for the next 15 years. In one of the meeting, we had the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. Then we had the meeting at which the sustainable development goals were defined. And then we had the meeting at which the agreement on climate change in Paris was agreed upon. And these are contemporary issues that we need to ask ourselves how cooperatives are contributing in that space. So the professor will be sharing with us what is happening in Asia and what we can learn from in Africa as we engage in that space. So join me in appreciating Professor as he comes. Professor, karibu sana. Karibu sana.
Revered dignitaries sitting in the first rows, respected the chair of the conference, respected chair of this session, distinguished delegates from various parts of the world, and friends from media, and my dear friends. Very good morning to all of you. I deem it as a great privilege to be part of this wonderful conference organized by Moshi Cooperative University, partnered with Cooperative University of Kenya. I feel very much privileged for the hospitality and for everything. Friends, I'm going to talk about the cooperatives and sustainable goals, the Asian experience with the lessons to African cooperatives. I begin with a Tamil poet's dream. His name is Kaniyan Pungundranar. So in 2600 years back, he has dreamt a dream that Yadum Ure Yavarum Keli. In a Tamil classic Purananuru, he has mentioned. It means that every place is mine and everyone is my kin, kith and kin. So he has dreamt the entire world as one family. That's what we are talking about now after some 2600 years back. Friends, so my speech includes some three or four important aspects. One is it talks about SDGs, the theoretical aspects. The second one is cooperatives, how it is considered as a notable player or a suitable player in achieving sustainable development goals and the initiatives taken. And the more important is cooperatives and SDGs, the major contributions by cooperatives towards the achievement and the lessons that we absorb from the Asian countries and the experiences and lessons. So these are the my priority aspects of presentation. We all know pretty well that SDGs are a set of 17 goals set by United Nations organizations, and it was agreed by 193 countries, which are to be implemented from 2016 to be reached by 2030. It is, we can say that SDGs are the extension of MDGs, which were proposed by 2000 by the UNO. The implementation of MDGs have accrued with a mixture of experiences. We have reached in some aspects targets and goals, and in some aspects we have not much. But the experience that gained by the UNOs and various national and international organizations that led for the proposal of sustainable development goals and for the sustainable development. SDGs focus broadly on planet, prosperity, and people. In other words, environment, social, and economic objectives. And the whole world, the globe has to concentrate on this so that the people will be relieved from the socio-economic environmental challenges. Here, one of the important aspects is, unlike the MDGs, here all the countries developing or developed, whoever the case, they have to collaborate their resources, their mights, and contribute for the achievement of the sustainable development goals. When we talk about the roots of SDGs, so it dates back to 1972 when a report was published by Rome, that is Limits to Growth. It was published. This report has got its basis on a research study done by Rachel Carson on Silent Spring. So this research study has come out with the negative aspects of agriculture and farming by using the chemicals and fertilizers. So limits to growth, the report was the first one to model, to create a good world and how the human interfaces pollute the farming activities. The second most important step towards taken. Okay, shall I take? Okay, let me see then. Okay.
Um, Apology for a little interruption to the presenter. We are joined by Dr. Blandina Kilama, who is a personal assistant to the President of the United Republic of Tanzania Economic Affairs. She will shortly be leaving the place, and we thought it would have been a good idea to recognize her presence. Thank you so much, Dr. Blandina. Next is President of ICA Africa, High Chief Tajuddin Ayola. Most welcome, sir. Thank you, and I wish you a pleasant stay in Tanzania. I hope you have made your way safely from Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. I also join to welcome you, Sam. Yeah. So the second step taken towards the formation of sustainable development goals is the World Commission on Environment and Development. It was formed by United Nations Organization in 1983 under the chairmanship of Herlam Brundtland. It is also called as Brundtland Commission. So they have come out with a report called Our Common Future in 1987. Some connectivity. Yeah. So in that report, she has explained how human interference have been disturbing to the nature. The another important step taken is in 1992, the Rio Earth Summit was conducted by United Nations organizations. So it was a global agreement was made among 1979 countries in order to avoid again the dangerous interference of humanity with the climate conditions. Again, in 2000, there was a Millennium Declaration in which the goals of Millennium Development have been formulated and it was put for the implementation. In 2012, the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, that is called as Rio Plus 20, it was taken to consideration after 20 years, and it has to review a 20-year follow-up, okay, to what has happened in 1992, and finally they have come out with uh, uh, sustainable development the goals. So these are all the aspects. The the World Commission, the Brundtland Commission, as the first time has defined the term sustainable development. The SDGs focus mainly on three important areas. One is economic aspects, second one is social aspects, and the third one is environmental. This is called as a triple bottom of the SDGs. And the economic activities have also been linked with the Sustainable Development Goals 8, 9, 10, and 12. And then in the case of social aspects, the Sustainable Development Goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. And under the environmental factors, the Sustainable Development Goals related them 6, 11, 14, and 14 and 16. So these are the goals have been grouped and they are linked with economic, social, and environmental factors. Well, so this is the brief introduction about the Sustainable Development Goals. And we are going to discuss about how cooperatives can be linked with in achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And what is the role assigned to cooperatives? Cooperatives are considered as a suitable as well as a notable player. The United Nations have categorized cooperatives under the private sector, including others as associations and collectives and small scale organizations. All these put together can contribute their might for the achievement of sustainable development goals. Well, cooperatives play a very, very vital role in advancing sustainable development goals. How? One, it's a the cooperatives are considered as a proven and adaptable institutional model for achieving the economic and social objectives. They are cooperatives are identified more with the people and purposes rather than profit and products. They always aim in fostering the economic resilience and aiming at promoting social inclusion, particularly among the vulnerable sections of the society. Cooperatives in almost all parts of the world, they have a very rich experience and long years of experience in moving with the people, cutting across their various parts of their life. And for example, in India, we can say it has got more than 120 years of experience. It has covered all the spheres of people's life. Cooperatives are they are democratic in nature. They practice democracy in all their forms of activities. They are very participative and they try to include all the people. Okay, so that the goal of cooperatives can be reached, and they are the economic organizations with social content. So cooperatives always have the twin objectives. At one side, they have to focus on economic aspects, and another side, they have to concentrate on social content. If you look at their contributions, 12% of the people on Earth, global, almost 1 billion, are the members of 3 million cooperatives. So the very largest cooperative, network is available and they contribute and they include 1 billion people. Please come. Any problem? So 280 million people get employment opportunities all over the world. And could you please? Yeah. And in the world ranking, the World Cooperative Monitor, so they used to publish every year with the top 300 functional operations cooperatives. And these 300 cooperatives have the turnover of 2,409 US dollar billion. And the cooperatives have a clear congruence, okay, between the sustainable development goals and the cooperative values and principles. So what uh, the sustainable development goals, what are the things and process are required for the reaching or for the achieving of sustainable development goals, the cooperatives have got. And if you look at the contributions, particularly in the rural areas, and its contribution is very vital. For example, in India, cooperatives are considered to be a bedrock of rural economy. So, without the contributions of cooperatives, the rural economy will not be very much enlightened. And they have got cooperatives have got this supporting social commitments, particularly in the COVID pandemic. They have distributed vegetables and they have distributed groceries. And we have also seen that the concern for community, the seventh principle, okay, it is being implemented all over the world. for taking care of the economic as well as the social life of the people. Friends, considering these vital aspects and nature, both inherently cooperatives have got principles and values, and they have got identity, and they are having economic as well as socially relevant aspects. So this is a well-suited organization to reach or to achieve the sustainable development goals. So very recently, yeah, the global initiatives taken by international organizations for promoting uh, its importance among the people. We used to celebrate International Day of Cooperatives every day, the first Saturday of July of every year. So this has been celebrated from 1923, International Cooperative Day from 1923, and after 1995, the ICA got its principles reformulated. Then from 1995 onwards, International Day of Cooperatives is celebrated. So the first Saturday of July, the very purpose of celebrating this International Day is to showcase the success stories and the experiences and the contributions to the people, so that the non-cooperatives can be brought under the fold of cooperatives. They must be made known that there is a peculiar, unique business model is meant for serving the underprivileged and the people of small means. This is number one. Number two, UN guidance notes. The United Nations has prepared a very detailed notes in the year 2001. So that these detailed guidance and the practical application of cooperative values and the principles for the organization, cooperative enterprises to be adopted. Then the year 2002, the International Labour Organization has passed a resolution number 193 in order to promote the cooperatives among the public sector and public enterprises domain, so that everyone must try to understand the uh, cooperative organizations and their values. The World Cooperative Monitor, as I mentioned earlier, that it was a great exercise. It is being done by International Cooperative Alliance in collaboration with European Eurocs, and they publish every year the the number of cooperatives and their economic contributions and their business performance and etc. etc. This is considered to be a very vital document for for the persons of academics as well as researchers. So one of the pathetic condition in our field is that we do not have sufficient data, and the data need to be checked and cross-checked. So we have always that problem. So this one is from 2011 onwards, they have been publishing every year. And then the UN International Year is was celebrated in 2012 with the objective of cooperatives build better worlds. So they have promoted this concept, and they have also advised ICA to prepare a declaration blueprint for a decade by 2030 for the achievement, how the cooperatives must move about, and by 2020, it has to be reached. Then again, UNESCO has recognized cooperatives in the year 2016 as to the list of intangible cultural heritage. Cooperatives were considered as the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, because recognizing its interest, the shared interest for popularizing the cooperative movement. Madam was also yesterday explained that Amul is one of the important case where a poor women, milk producers and farmers, they join together and they formed a primary milk producers cooperative society. Now it has evolved into a very big business empire, we can say, Amul. So Amul, the taste of India, which is now exporting milk to US and Canada, raw milk. And the packet milk, it is playing a very, very important player in, in distributing the milk. And this was responsible for making a white revolution in India. White revolution in India. So again, the G20 India presidency has given presidency declaration in the year 2023. It provides an opportunity to cooperatives since they are fostering the understanding and promoting sustainable development in all the spheres, particularly empowering the rural communities. So, considering their nature, considering their potentials, the G20 presidency has recognized it. Then again, UN Resolution 2023 on social and solidarity economy for promotion of sustainable development and MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises and cooperatives. Then, in the International Year of Cooperatives 2025 has been declared by UNO. Again, this is the second time. In 2012, it was declared, and again, very short span of time. So they have declared it's mainly to promote the importance of cooperatives so that the cooperatives can be taken to all the corners of nook and corners of the society for delivering goods and services to the society. Then the next one is COPS for 2030. That 4 has to be removed. COPS for 2030. This is a platform developed mainly to put forth the ideas connected with the cooperatives and SDGs. What are their experiences, the success notes, the failures, and what kind of things they have experienced. All those aspects are being put in the platform. So this is a official website for showcasing the objective achievements of SDGs. So why I'm giving this is a synaptic note at international level. The cooperatives are being given importance mainly in order to take the cooperatives to the village level and to the doorsteps of the people, so that uh, every people must get involved in the functions of cooperatives. So, friends, next I'm going to give you some slides goal-wise, how cooperatives are linked or aligned with SDGs. We have known that cooperatives play a vital role. So, here in what forms they can play and what type of contributions they make for the achievement of cooperatives. So, just I will. Okay. Uh, Goal number one is poverty. So poverty must be eradicated. Poverty must be completely eradicated. So this was the UNO goal. And so the extreme poverty, poverty in all forms, extreme poverty, people who are living below $1, 1.25 US dollar. So they must be removed. So if you take into account, if you consider, there are about 730 billion people are living below the poverty line, below the poverty line. And in India itself, we have got 28% of population under extreme poverty, almost one third or one fourth. It's a little higher than. So poverty, we all know that it will lead to a lot of socioeconomic crimes, and it must be eradicated. So that is the reason why it has been considered as the first goal. Well, all types of cooperatives can be aligned with this eradication of things. Then particularly agricultural cooperatives, producers, entrepreneurial and labor, they play a little important role over others. what kind of role the cooperatives can be play? So economic opportunities must be given to the people, the members, and they must be given all the means and methods so that they can be relieved from the poverty. So we must give the opportunity of getting themselves economically coming up. The mere teaching is not sufficient. So the practical inputs, the practical solutions always will help them. So economic opportunities, particularly the financial inclusion nowadays, the microfinancial inclusion, and organizing income generating activities, giving training to the members on different capacity building. So these are very, very essential for eradicating this poverty. Economic empowerment, income generation, and we all know very well that cooperatives are also provide direct as well as indirect employment to the people. So the best examples we can cite, okay, in the Asia as well as in the Africa are SACO model. They provide financial assistance to lift from the people from lower level to high level, and also the ACU, Association of Cooperative Credit Union in Asia, Asian Cooperative Credit Union, and cooperatives in India alone, they contribute to 20% of agricultural credit to the credit requirements. In India, the credit requirement network is a very, very wider. So they plays a vital role. And Indian cooperative also provides the employment opportunities to 13.3% of total employed, and then at world level, 10% of world employment are being given by the cooperatives. So this is an important aspect. Then the second goal is zero hunger. Hunger, it is after poverty, hunger. This also must be eradicated. So the World Food Program, it has estimated that 690 million plus 130 million the corona pandemic has brought 130 million extra to the load of 690 million people are hungry. So in total, 820 million people are in hungry. Uh, and then in India also, about 190 million are under malnutrition. So, food, malnutrition, particularly the child mortality, women mortality, all these aspects must be reduced. Otherwise, anemic and lot of other problems will come. It will come. So, for achieving this, the again almost the credit cooperatives, farmers cooperatives, agricultural producers cooperatives, agricultural marketing cooperatives, and consumer cooperatives, they play a vital role because they are dealing with food, grains, and marketing of food items. Now, what kind of role cooperatives can play? They can play time agricultural credit, distribution of agricultural inputs, and efficient farming methods, and then PDS. One of the notable aspect is public distribution system in Tamil Nadu as well as in India, the underprivileged sections of people are given food grains, rice, dal at free of cost. In Tamil Nadu, where I belong to, every that card holder gets 20 kgs of rice at free of cost. 20 kgs of rice. And then the food grain distribution in Corona period and access to agricultural market. So these are all the important areas. So what kind of examples can be cited here? Now India, the world's largest grain storage is being established by India because after harvest is a we are very very menace for the farming community like in India. So they waste too much. They do not have sufficient godown. So they are compelled to sell their agricultural yielding at lowest cost since they do not have proper storage. So the present government has taken steps to come up with a very big, a massive size, largest grain storage. So the farmers can store their produce, and whenever the price they get sufficient price or reasonable price, they can sell. So till then it can be kept. And then, yeah, in India, under PDS, Public Distribution System, it is one of the important intervention to supply food grains to erode hunger is a PDS. There are 5 lakh 38 lakh fair price shops. So for distributing the government grains, rice and oil and dal, there's a separate fair price. Yeah, they have 32 percentage of food products market share globally. Then coming to the goal 3, good health and well-being. Yeah, so everyone must lead a good and strong life. So nowadays we have witnessed that the life expectancy has increased. What our forerunners they had, okay, we have increased in life expectancy, and then reducing. Okay, okay. So under this can good health. So here, how can cooperatives? There are health cooperatives. They contribute a lot. For example, in India, in Kerala, one of the states where health cooperatives are there, because of their functioning, they are at first in the health index in India. Again, Tamil Nadu is also contributing a lot. There are healthcare cooperatives. They provide preventive, curative, and critical care services. They run cooperative hospitals, allopathic and Ayurvedic, Siddha, and all forms of medical care facilities are available at free of at a reasonable cost. At a reasonable cost. So the next one is quality education and lifelong. Yeah, we all know very well that education is a sine qua non and it is a man making and character building exercise. When people are educated, then we can implement the programs very quickly. When people are uneducated, then definitely we have to toil and moil to implement the programs and a lot of other things. How cooperatives can? For example, we have got separate, like our Mosi Cooperative University, they offer programs. Cooperative University of Kenya. In India, also Vamnikam and the university like Gandhigram, we offer academic programs and also capacity building programs are being given and to the people. Right. The next one is gender equality. It is one important aspect. Okay, all the members, I mean the women members, they need to be considered. Um, they need to be considered equal status in wage, in respects, in social aspects, etc., etc. So it is a fundamental right. It is a fundamental right and a precondition for sustainable development. Jawaharlal Nehru, the former Prime Minister, has said, "Tell about the condition of women. I will tell about the country of your the status of your country." So it means in the countries where the women members are given importance, the countries where women are respected, then naturally those countries or can be considered as a highly forward community or country. So women must be given equal rights in governance and in legislative aspects, in wage, etc., etc. But unfortunately, violence and sexual harassment have been noticed here and there. So therefore, gender equality must be the order of the day. The UN wants to take all these things. How can gender equality can be implemented all times? In cooperatives, for example, women membership. Board members must be included in the governance structure. So by making this one, there are women cooperatives, exclusively for women cooperatives in India, 21,493, 21,500 women cooperatives are there, specifically, all are women. So like we can make steps towards the bringing in gender equality. Next one is clean water and sanitation. Access to water and sanitation is order of the day. Even we can find open defecation and insufficiency of water for cleanliness. Okay, all these are all the perennial problems faced by rural sites. So here cooperatives, there are irrigation cooperatives, there are associations of common users, resources, ponds, like these are all organized by members for the use of the community. Yeah, next, for want of time, I have to little rush. Then affordable and clean energy. Yeah, all along we use coal and charcoal and animal dung for cooking purpose. Okay, nowadays the gas connection has come. Okay, liquefied petroleum gas has come and electrified oven has come. But still, there are crores of people are using the primitive methods. Okay, because of that, global warming and pollution, all other things they come across. So here electrification cooperatives and cooperatives need to form what we can say hydro cooperatives. These are the things, clean energy cooperatives can be started. Next one is decent work and economic growth. So we need to have decent work. Everyone must be given decent work. Yeah, the economic growth must be shown through decent work given to all the people. Unemployment should be eroded, and in the place of unemployment, the promotion of labor intensive projects must be given. We many a time focus more and more on capital intensive, so that would sometimes we may not give the better results, whereas labor intensive project that will give you good job and decent work, entrepreneurship and creativity, all these things can be done. Then industry, innovation and infrastructure. Yeah, these are all the things cooperatives can also think of. Industry, innovation. How can the COVID-19 pandemic has taught a lesson for this one, industry innovation. Okay, we in India, the cashless payment has been introduced, digitalization has been, it was at a full swing. Even in the classrooms and colleges and universities, we used to have digitalized learning. So, another 5 minutes. Let me take another 5 minutes. Because 17 goals at least I must complete. So digital way of learning has come. Okay, and it was felt that it was a need of the hour. So in that direction, we have to pay. And industry-wise, IFCO, it is one of the famous cooperative, Indian Fertilizer Farmers and Fertilizer Cooperative. They have invented liquefied petroleum nano by using nanotechnology. So it has this was appreciated by the farming community. Okay, well, in housing, good housing facilities can be implemented and brought. Reduced inequalities. The another important aspects, reduce inequalities among the members. Well, so countries must be countries must be equal with other countries in social respects, economic, environmental, and technological aspects. So there shall not be any inequalities among the countries. So, in some cases, due to global warming and due to job, unemployment, the migration and the refugees have come to the greater level. So, these type of problems must be solved. So, in there shall not be any inequality. The entire world must be equal in all respects. So cooperatives can involve themselves in the way of implementation of technology and financial reporting standards and financial inclusion and legislative reforms. Digitalization is another important aspect. Sustainable cities and communities. This would make a very good aspect. Housing cooperatives can play a major role. Sustainable cities and communities, housing cooperatives and transport cooperatives can play a major role in achieving this one. Then responsible consumption and production. We know very well that production and consumption are the drivers of economic development, but the both aspects must be responsible. Okay, we should not apply pesticides and chemicals for the increasing of production. And at the same time, at the consumption, there must be responsible. We should not waste food. We should not waste food. So these are the aspects must be brought as responsible consumption and production. Next one is climate action. We are very much talking about climate action nowadays. Yeah, the nature is giving us oxygen. The nature is giving us a life, but many a time we pollute them. Okay, we pollute them for our benefits. Sea is also being polluted in various forms. So for climate action, the farm forestry tree growers cooperatives are being implemented. So he is persisting me to okay. Life below water again, sea. Okay, sea is giving us the everything, climate regulator, and it gives us rain. Okay, it gives us life to all of us. So it needs to be protected. Fisheries cooperatives can play a major role. Then life on land, again, forestry and green spaces must be increased. Plastics must be reduced. Pollution must be avoided. Cooperatives can play a major role. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. So, through this, even a person who is living in the lost line, the underprivileged, everyone must be given justice. So, that is the important one. No one should be left behind. So, this is the watchword of SDGs. So, all the organizations should not concentrate on wealthy people, should not concentrate on educated. No, they should concentrate on illiterate, they should concentrate on vulnerable, and they should concentrate on the people of small means. So the last one, yeah. So the partnership, the present today is focusing more and more of a partnership with other organizations. We earlier we used to have a partnerships with cooperatives. Now we have to go beyond. We had seen horizontal and vertical integration among cooperatives, but now we need to have out of box thinking. You can have collaboration with a technological IIT. For example, NCUI, National Cooperative Union of India, has collaborated with IIT for establishing cooperative entrepreneurship and development skill. And NIFT, National Institute of Fashion Technology, for making ornaments and other designs. And there is a separate platform to market. So, my dear friends, so these are the things I have explained goal wise, and I have also focused on theme wise, but unfortunately, our chair is standing behind and persisting me to complete. So, okay, sir. So,
Another round of applause for Professor Bangaru. And Professor started by emphasizing that action is required in 5 areas, 5 themes: people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. And he has gone ahead to share the experience of a cooperative contribution in Asia in those areas. He has indicated that cooperatives are suitable in making a very special contribution in the realization of sustainable development goals. I took very special interest in his discussion around SDG 6, clean water and sanitation, SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, SDG 12, reasonable consumption and production, SDG 13, climate action, SDG 14, SDG 16, relating to peace. And the professor has been very clear on the fact that cooperatives are suitable in playing very critical role in that space, sharing the experience from Asia with a special focus on India. I will open the floor for some few remarks, comments, questions, observations. How well do we see ourselves in Africa in cooperatives playing a very special role in those SDGs I have mentioned? We know we do so much on prosperity, people. What about planet? What about peace? And so on and so forth. We, in the interest of time, some 3 comments will do. My good brother Akanji. A mic for him, please. And from his legal background, he could tell us how well we are prepared in terms of legal regulatory framework in participating in that area.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for the industry you committed into your presentation. Prior to this time, I've thought of the imperative of having a study that draws intersection between cooperative principles, the sustainable development goals, and quality data. And you just made it very simple. So we must commend your effort. Now, going further, there is the need for the global south to work together. You are from India. Here is Africa. Prior to the advent of Chinese industrialists, who are now virtually everywhere in Africa, we used to have Indian African trade. How can we have that situation back? How can we reenact that feat? Knowing fully well that the bulk of our cooperative laws were actually transplanted from India over 100 years ago. We have a background in that. So how can we have Indian African trade on the flags of the cooperatives? And that will align with cooperation among cooperatives. Thank you very much.
Asante ndugu Akanji. Next. Behind there, please.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Gratian Croneri Rokaza from Mosh Corporate University. I thank the professor for a nice presentation in terms of the SDGs and how cooperatives switch themselves into the SDGs. The issue comes, do cooperative plans to attain the SDGs, or SDGs are there by accident? You find cooperative doing the SDGs, the SDGs variables. Because if you find, for example, no poverty, do cooperative plans to end poverty to attain the SDGs? Or you find the SDGs are like theories, and then cooperative find themselves doing SDGs by accident. When they are planning, for example, the strategic plans, whatever kind of stuff, do they plan to attain the SDGs, or they are planning by virtue of the functions of the cooperative societies? Where do we find the striving efforts of the cooperatives to attain the SDGs as a plan on their strategic plans?
Thank you.
Thank
A very good question. If I took a strategic plan for a given cooperative, or even at a department level, am I likely to find that we are deliberate on having areas that focus on SDGs? Last one, please. Whose hand is up? Yes, sir. Chief. Karibu sana. A mic here.
Thank you, Prof. Let me first and foremost appreciate you for the presentation and say good afternoon to the esteemed participant of this conference, especially those of us that are here seated. Now, I just want to commend you for the presentation, and at the same time to make just some sort of response to the last speaker. You know, the issue of cooperative being probably by accident linked with the SDGs. Yes, that has been the more or less the core responsibility of a cooperative society, the betterment and the welfare of their members. And essentially, too, when you look at the 17 SDGs, mainly it's talking about the basis of life. That what are those things that are expected of a good life, which I think that is the core responsibility of a cooperative societies or the cooperative sectors of the economy. But going further about cooperative, the SDGs, and looking at the implementation of SDGs, probably using cooperative being a good instrument for that, then I will want to appreciate the organizers of this program, though I'll still have time to do that again, but go ahead to say that probably starting from the 5th international conference being organized, that we essentially need to bring in the governments in Africa, in this type of program. Now, provision of the conducive environment for cooperative to actually flourish and be able to contribute maximally to these SDGs, then government must be involved. There is nothing we want to do that government will not be involved. They regulate cooperative in Africa and everywhere, of course. And essentially, we need to constantly telling them the importance of government in all these things. And I urge the organizers, they still, yes, as much as you are not asking them for money, just inviting them, which I think IC Africa can also play a very good role. We have an organ of IC Africa, who is talking of the conference of the ministerial conference, talking about the ministers in charge of cooperative all over Africa. We have an organ that brings them together to 2 years to actually discuss. But essentially for this program, I think starting from next year or so, if it is annually, that we need to bring them in. Let them be seated. Let them listen to well-researched cooperative issues, and at the same time, try to drum it into their ears, the importance they need to play. The economic situation of Africa is essentially bad. And I believe that if the government is ready to use cooperative platform to actually tackle this economic situation in the shortest possible time, we'll be talking of the achievement of all these SDGs, eradication of poverty. We may not be able to eradicate that easily, but we can reduce it to the barest minimum. Now, once again, I thank the organizers for the opportunity. And Professor, we thank you most sincerely. Probably I'll be looking upward for probably next year to invite you to Nigeria. You know, our cooperative system is tailored, in line with your system. And this started sometimes 1935, and we really appreciate that. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, President. And it seems you are speaking to the agenda for 2025 annual conference. And next to you is Professor Isaac Nyamongo. I saw him nodding, indication that he's picked what you just said. Now, in the interest of time, I know there are hands up, but I will ask Professor Bangaru to summarize in 1 minute. In the interest of time, again, we have other presenters lined up. So please, Prof. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much for the comments, suggestions, and queries. Yeah. So the first one is India and Africa, in what ways cooperatively can be collaborated. And well, it is the year of collaboration. It is the year of integration. We can have cooperatives, cooperation among cooperatives. The African cooperatives as well as Indian cooperatives can be collaborated in various angles, technologically and innovation aspects and in farming related aspects. So everything, because India borrowed the concept of cooperation from Germany. Okay, because India has got, it's a farming country. So we can condense, we can customize the approaches suiting to our African countries. So the well proven cooperative models can be copied to our African countries. So this can be one. And the organizations like Amul, IFCO, Kripco, Varnanagar, there are some notably very Urulangal cooperative labor contract cooperative societies. Labor contract cooperative societies, they are performing extremely well. Okay, some labor contract cooperative societies of our Tanzania and Kenya or Nigeria can have collaboration, and they do very, very extremely well. It's one of the best cooperatives, okay, globally. So like Amul, we can get the Amul's model can be put into practice. Okay, so yeah, thank you. The second question, whether cooperatives, the performance are linked to SDGs or SDGs as those features can be put forward. No, we have been performing well. Okay, the concept of sustainable development only widely known only in 2015 or in the Brundtland Commission, it was there. But we had a concern for community in 1995 onwards. We had in earlier also, even the poor, vulnerables, underprivileged, or people of small means, everyone must be socially and economically protected. So cooperatives have got a very good vision and mission, and whatever we have achieved, those aspects are being taken from cooperatives and they are fitting to goals. That's all. Yeah, this is the thing. I hope that I have given. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
One more clap for Professor. And now I return the program to the MC.
Hello. Yeah. We are now going to have a 15 minutes break, and we have to observe time because we are behind the time set. All VIP will follow Chairperson Professor Mangasini together with DVC ARC to the council chamber, while other participants having coupons, tea will be served around George Kahama Hall. Thereafter, we will all return to this hall, J.K. Nyerere Hall, and we will have one more parallel session where we shall have a keynote speech from Solomon Atsiaya, which will be moderated by Dr. Mchopa, and rapporteur will be Dr. Kazungu. Please get ready. Let's break for 15 to 20 minutes, and we are urged to observe time. Thank you so much.